Well, hello again, and yet another week has flashed by. It's the 15th of February 2026 already. Good heavens. It's 4 minutes to midday, and sounds like the crows are going to be joining in today. It's time for another weekly roundup of the steaming pile that is the great UFO-tainment Swindle. What have I seen this week? Actually, I've seen some real rubbish this week. But anyway, let's get into it. Now, British filmmaker Mr. Lee, Christopher Lee, is it? Says, you know, he's got a reliable inside source. His source is inside the Trump administration. And he's telling that his source is telling him that Trump is going to disclose on May the 1st. Well, I'll make a bold prediction. Mr. Trump will not be disclosing ETs coming here on May the 1st. He may be disclosing something, but it'll have nothing whatsoever to do with extraterrestrials. Mr. Trump has said on at least 2 television interviews that I have personally seen that personally he doesn't believe in aliens. So no one from any department, you know, government department, military contractor, foreign government, has ever told him ETs are coming here, crashing here, visiting here, or whatever. You know, it's not happening, is it? Mr. Lee tells us Trump will confirm forensic analysis of recovered off-world vehicles and non-human biologics. Yes. Will confirm forensic analysis of recovered off-world vehicles and non-human biologics has established their ET origin. Apparently this will be the official acknowledgement of this reality. That's what he's saying. This sounds like Grush, doesn't it? You know, is Grush going to be considered an inside government source? He's working for Burlison, so he's a government employee, isn't he? But this sounds a lot like Grush, doesn't it? Non-human biologics, that's the term he uses. And this will be the official announcement of this reality by a world leader. So yes, I think I can confidently say Mr. Trump will be making no such announcement. And Mr. Lee is a gullible fanboy that's fallen for this nonsense, hook, line, and sinker. In fact, I'm so confident that this will not happen that if it does, I will personally, I'll get a knife and fork out of the kitchen drawer and I will eat this planet. There you go. That's how confident I am that it will not happen. If it does happen, I'll get a knife and fork out of the drawer and I will eat this planet. Forget about eating a Land Cruiser. I'll eat this planet and the rest of the solar system. When I'm out on one of my trips, you know, unicycling around the rings of Saturn, I'll just tuck in, get a straw, not a gas around Saturn, of course. Oh dear. I've no idea who Mr. Lee is. He obviously lives in cloud cuckoo land. He's repeating all this stuff as though it's real. He believes it. It's not real. It will never happen. There are no recovered off-world vehicles. No recovered non-human biologics. Not from outer space anyway. Might get a few monkeys maybe, get a blow lamp on them, you know, make them look a little bit like aliens that have crashed in a flying saucer. But the DNA will reveal they are actually terrestrial critters. Non-human, but terrestrial. It's all science fiction. Science fiction rubbish, isn't it? It's just nonsense. Yeah, as I said last week, Mr. Trump has told Burlison to go get him. You know, so apparently Trump has told the Department of War, not the Department of Defense anymore, to give Mr. Burlison access to UFO bases and non-human bodies, according to GB News. I don't think that's going to take Mr. Burlison very long, considering there are no UFO bases. No UFO bases on Earth. And no new non-human bodies. Well, as I said before, there certainly won't be any extraterrestrial bodies. Non-human bodies is easy enough to arrange, isn't it? No, certainly won't be any extraterrestrial bodies. UFO bases could be anything, really, couldn't it? I mean, it could be a UFO base could be a warehouse full of drones. The drones swarm out. Oh, UFOs! We don't know what they are, Won't have anything to do with extraterrestrials. It's complete and utter rubbish. So this mission apparently will not... Well, that's what I just said. Skip to the next page. Not take Mr. Burlison very long at all, because there are no military sites where recovered UFOs or alien bodies and archival records as well. It applies to archival records. So Mr. Burlison has got permission to see all these archived records of the American government or American government contractors recovering crashed alien vehicles and recovering the bodies from those alien vehicle crashes. So he's got permission to see the archival records as well. Yeah, well, there's not going to be any archival records. I think Mr. Burlison is going to come to the conclusion that Sean Kirkpatrick and Tim Phillips at Arrow are quite correct. It's all science fiction rubbish. There is no substance to this. This is why people have said, why don't you get Arrow and Grush and Lazar and Burlison all in one room at the same time? They just can't make that happen, and that's because the bullshitters know that Arrow is in a position to check out what they have to say, and they will be found out to be science fiction bullshitters immediately. That's why you're never, ever going to get these fake whistleblowers, these science fiction piffle peddlers, in the same room as anyone that can check it out. They're never going to be in the same room as Arrow. Lazar's never going to go and talk to Arrow. Even Eric Davis, he's has said that he knew Bob Lazar's supervisor at Los Alamos. He was a radiation monitoring equipment technician. That's why he appears in the Los Alamos phone book. Bob Lazar, and then it's got KM at the end, Kirk Meyer. He was a contractor, a technician. He was no special staff physicist. Senior staff physicist, was it he described himself as? Yeah, so I think Mr. Burlison is going to find out very quickly, once he gets access to these sites, what these piffle peddlers, these fake whistleblowers, these science fiction fantasists have told him all the addresses of where all this stuff is going to be, and he'll go there and find nothing extraterrestrial. No extraterrestrial technology, no extraterrestrial biology. I guarantee it, just from sitting here in Australia. I've been looking into this since the 70s. There is no substance to any of it. There is no tangible evidence to support one single ET is coming here and crashing here story. Not one. It's just stories. And I think Mr. Burlison will come to the conclusion very quickly that it's all science fiction rubbish. Now, it may be they're going to say, oh, well, they knew Burlison was going to go to this particular Lockheed Martin facility, so they've shifted everything. They just shifted it all immediately, overnight. But they're not going to be able to shift the spacecraft that's so big they have to put a building over it, are they? So if he goes there and it's not there, he's going to call bullshit. He's actually said it's going to be his final destination. So if it's not there, it's all bullshit. They're not going to waste any more time or money on it. And if it is there, the cat's out of the bag. All the people pushing for disclosure are going to be out of business. No one's going to need to be told to keep quiet about it. So Jake and Elwood, and the men in black, they're going to be out of business. The black cars are going to be on eBay. Danny Sheehan is going to have to stop e-begging for money to push for disclosure. Same with Steve Batshit. They'll all be out of business. The last thing they want is for disclosure to actually happen, because as soon as it does, they're all done and dusted. They're going to have to go and get real jobs. So that's what's going to happen. Mr. Burlison's going to go around, he's going to find nothing, he's going to find no archival records, he's going to find no physical evidence. They're all going to be telling him, oh, it's a big cover-up, they've shifted everything because they knew you were going. And then if he does finally get permission to go to this site where this alien spacecraft is so big they had to put a building over it and there's nothing there, and I'm completely confident that's what he's going to find, he's going to go, wow, this is just bullshit, this is wasting my time. And everybody else's, and the taxpayers' money. Just put a line through it. Science fiction rubbish. New business. Next caller, please. So, I mean, we've already been told this is the case by Arrow. Arrow and the Pentagon. Arrow was set up to look into this stuff. And if Arrow can't find it, it's not there, is it? They can look into any program, any compartment, and they found nothing. They've officially stated there is nothing to it. It's just a core of science fiction bullshitters that are perpetuating all this ridiculous science fiction nonsense. The Pentagon repeated what Arrow said because Arrow is where the Pentagon will get their information from, because Arrow is the American government official department looking into this. They can look under any rock, and they found nothing. They found no aliens, no extraterrestrial technology. So Burlison isn't going to find any, is he? He can't. He's got to be a reasonably smart guy, Mr. Burlison. So he's going to have to come to the conclusion that it's all science fiction rubbish before too long, I suspect. So, the fanboys and girls will be screaming cover up. You can't believe a word the government says. Unless, of course, they say it's all true. And then you can believe them 100%, You can't believe Trump, you can't believe Arrow, you can't believe any of these guys. Wait a minute, they're on the TV. Well, they're saying it's all real. ETs are coming here and they're crashing here and their technology's being reversed. I told you! They would accept that in a nanosecond. And they're never going to accept that it's not real, it's not happening, because they're blinkered. They've made their minds up that is their truth. And it's all bullshit. I don't know why people need to believe this so badly. I mean, why? Why do people need aliens to be visiting this planet? I mean, personally, that would bother me. I would have to wonder what they were really doing here. So, yeah. So if the government suddenly says, yes, it's all true, Trump makes this announcement, they'll be all over that. Told you, it's been going on for decades, big cover-up, They would accept that one statement in a heartbeat. How many times have they been told it's all science fiction rubbish? And they just will not believe it. Their minds are made up. They've been filling their heads with this science fiction rubbish for years, if not decades, most of them. I saw Bob Lazar, he says, he doesn't want to get involved, he doesn't want the publicity and all this, and then he was going to talk at an event, they're going, hey, standing ovation, Bob Lazar, Bob Lazar. I mean, the last thing Bob Lazar wants is adulation like that, isn't it? As I've said before, Bob Lazar's story, more holes than a colander. He's no senior staff physicist with EG&G. It's all science fiction rubbish. His story falls apart at the seams at the slightest scrutiny. So, forget about Lazar, forget about all these characters. Apparently George Knapp and Jeremy Corbelll have been discussing Lazar, testifying before Congress. Now, this is going to be a complete waste of time. We all know what Lazar's got to say. It's drivel. I think Lazar has always said he's not going to talk to Arrow, he's not going to talk to Congress. And I think that he's probably got confidence now, having seen Borland and Nuccatelli and Brown all testifying in front of Congress, and everything they had to say is complete and utter rubbish. So Lazar has probably thought, well, I can sit there and just tell them a load of rubbish. You know, nothing's going to happen. Nothing's happened to Borland. Nothing's happened to Locatelli. Nothing's happened to Brown. I can just sit there and tell them my fanciful tale. And nothing's going to happen to me. You won't go and tell it to Arrow, though, because Arrow will say, OK, you were where? What was the date of that? Yep, OK, and you were doing what? What was the project called? You can tell us. We're cleared to hear anything. What was the project called? Who was your boss there? Who did you report directly to? It's a contracting company. What's the name of the contracting company? Who did you report to directly? Go investigate that company. Go to that company and say, did you have this employee? Was he doing this work for you back then? Okay. Who? I think he was one of the. I think he was one of the lab techs. You know, looking at Lazar. I think he was one of the lab techs looking after the radiation monitoring equipment. So George Knapp as well, remember, on Weaponised. I really wish I just recorded that clip. It was only a few seconds long, but I thought so many people would be talking about it, I didn't need to do that. But I really wish I had done that. George Knapp on Weaponised, after all the research he's been doing for all these decades, all the interactions he's had with Bob Lazar. He went to Russia, interacting with people over there. He's got all these records from Russia. He said on Weaponised, probably this year, it wasn't that long ago, personally he doesn't believe in aliens. That's George Knapp. So, George Knapp apparently advised Lazar not to testify. Well, if I thought it was a load of bullshit, I'd advise him not to testify too. Lazar's already said he's not going to talk to Arrow. You know, he will avoid Arrow like the plague. He's not going anywhere. Well, he's not going anywhere near Arrow. He may go to Congress because, as I said previously, he knows you can feed Congress a load of bullshit and there's no comeback on it. Just look at the people that have already done it. Zero comeback. So, you know, he knows he'll be revealed as a fraud, officially revealed as a fraud overnight if he talks to Arrow, because they'll check out Caltech and all that sort of stuff. And they'll check out EG&G, and they'll check out what projects were going on at Area 51. Because they're cleared to do all that, and they'll go, get this guy out of my office, you know. Actually, there's a really good Dr. Todd Grande YouTube video about Bob Lazar. I might link to that below, so you can, if you fancy a laugh, you can have a look at it. And I might link to my character Norman telling the Bob Lazar story in the first person, as though it was Norman's story. So if you've got some chocolate digestives and you're bored and it's, you know, Sunday afternoon and you're sitting around in front of the telly, there's nothing on, you might want to take a quick look at those. Dr. Todd Grande's one is really, really quite good. My one, well, you know, obviously I'm bound to be biased, but I thought my one was pretty good too. Okay, so, you know, Lazar can't produce any of his certificates, any of his coursework. He doesn't appear in any of the MIT or Caltech yearbooks. No one that went there at that time can recall him being there. He can't name one of his lecturers. Put a line through Bob Lazar is a fantasist. Next caller, please. So, yeah, actually I've skipped ahead a page here. That's referring to my video and Dr. Grande's video. How are we doing? Oh, it's only 20 minutes so far. I might be a bit longer than last week's, but not by much, I suspect. Although I do have another little pad here. You know, I mean, Congress wasted their time with Borland, Locatelli, Brown, and all these Grush, all these other people. You know, just a complete waste of time. Elizondo, well, I know all about it, but I can't talk about it. You know, Want to see a picture of a chandelier? I've got a great picture here of some crop irrigation circles. Oh dear me. And there was no comeback, so Lazar's confidence is buoyed by that. He thinks, well, I can sit there and I can still play the big I am, you know. I still get all this adulation, standing ovations. I can feed him a whole steaming pile and there will be no comeback. So maybe we'll see Bob Lazar talking to Congress. Although Mr. Burlison did say they're not interested in any more testimony without tangible evidence, didn't he? He said they're not interested in any more whistleblowing, they're not interested in any more people that are just going to stand in front or sit in front of testimony, Congress and give them testimony. They want hard evidence. They want tangible evidence. Otherwise they're not going to waste their time and money on it. So I can't see Lazar getting in there, really. I mean, he's not going to have a thermos flask full of element 115, is he? You know? Oh dear. So yeah, you know, Congress has already wasted more than enough US taxpayers' tax dollars on this ridiculous nonsense. Yeah, Lazar says he wants to keep a low profile. He doesn't want to stir the pot again. Just watch his new S4 Gravitor movie. Just watch my movie, you know. I just want to stay out of the public limelight. I don't want any of this standing ovation, all this adulation. I don't want that. No, just watch my movie. Dear me. I mean, that would insult the intelligence of a cheese and pickle sandwich, wouldn't it, really? Oh dear. Okay, so as I said, I'll leave a link below to Dr. Todd Granday's video about Bob Lazar, and my one as well. That'll tell you all you need to know about Bob Lazar. And I saw, what was it, there's a sort of fan-made clip about Bob Lazar, the movie or something. He's got a rocket engine on the back of his Honda. And this supposedly was how he got invited by Edward Teller to go and work on flying saucers, you know, chemical rocket technology. That impressed them. The actual story is somewhat different. I think he actually got a small jet engine and put it on the back of a Honda Civic, you know, so he's driving that around the desert. I mean, you don't need to be a super brain to do that, you know. You bought an old jet engine from a government surplus junk sale, you know. Tank of kerosene, you know, fire it up, it's going to generate thrust. Even a small jet engine is going to push a Honda Civic along. It's completely impractical, of course. Can you imagine sitting behind Bob Lazar and his jet-powered, so it's not rocket, it's jet-powered, his jet-powered Honda Civic at the traffic lights, you know. You're sitting there in your Porsche 911 Carrera Turbo, you know, 350 grand's worth. He's sitting there like that, you know. You creep up behind Bob Lazar at the traffic lights and he's got his jet engine ticking over. As soon as he pulls away, your Porsche isn't going to have any paint on it, is it? I don't quite know what he was expecting to do with that, but the whole Bob Lazar story is just drivel. You know, he may well have done that, but it's certainly nothing spectacular. You know, it's any backyard mechanic could do that. You know, no one's going to be impressed enough with something like that to say, hey, you know, come and work on this super secret, you know, recovered reverse engineering, recovered alien spacecraft. If I've just seen your jet engine, you know, rocket engine, it's just not going to happen. Right, our old mate Ross Coulthart tells us he can understand Lazar not wanting to testify as people have been killed and have lost their jobs for talking about this subject. Yeah, just like all these clowns that are appearing on every social media platform, telling everybody all about it, you know, like Elizondo writing books about it, you know, podcasts, keynote speaker, TV shows, you know, he's still alive and kicking, isn't he? So, yeah, forget about this. The other thing, too, is, I mean, Coulthart tells us people have been killed to keep this secret. Well, it's not a secret, so it's everywhere, isn't it? And, you know, we haven't heard the name of one person who was supposedly murdered to protect this secret, have we? Not one name. because that can be investigated. Their cause of death can be investigated. Grush will say, oh, people have been killed to protect the secret. Coulthart, oh yeah. Drum up as much intrigue as possible, Coulthart, Why tell us about a huge alien spacecraft that was so big it can't be moved, they had to put a building over it if you can't give us any more details? What is the point of that exactly? Generate intrigue. So Coulthart is saying people have been killed to protect the secret, and of course it's complete and utter rubbish. People have been killed. Give us a list of names, and we can check them out. We can see what their cause of death was, what the circumstances of their death was. You've got this top secret anti-gravity scientist. It one day he's there, next day he's gone. Dead. Oh, how old was this fella? Oh, well, he was 92. It's nonsense, isn't it? Absolute rubbish. So, yeah, the Coulthart and Co aren't going to give us any those kind of details. Grushy's not going to give us any names because they can. They can be checked. Any details can be checked. Well, we never get any details from these people because details can be checked. As soon as the details are checked, it all falls in a heap. It's a steaming pile. Lazar has been self-employed for decades. So he's not going to lose his job, is he? He's never worked as a physicist since his claimed stint at S4. No one's ever employed him as a physicist. He's a super physicist. He was immediately put on EG&G senior staff physicist. He was employed there as a senior staff physicist. Yet he hasn't worked as a physicist since. He hasn't worked for any of the big companies. He hasn't worked for Elon Musk. Can you imagine if Lazar's story was real? Wouldn't Elon Musk have Lazar working for him? Saying, engineer me a spacecraft. Let's get all these people in there. Say they could do this, Hal Puthoff, Eric Davis, Put them in a room and say, okay, build me an interstellar spacecraft. See where you get with that. I can tell you I'll tell you where you get with it. Nowhere. Because it's all bullshit. None of them know how to do it. I was surprised the other day, actually. A little thing popped up and it said, new subscriber, Elon Reed Musk. And I thought, Mr. Musk has subscribed to my channel. So I had a quick look at this channel, and it's full of Elon Musk videos. There's not many subscribers there, and I thought, well, I don't know if it's Mr. Musk or not, but regardless, whoever you are, thank you for subscribing. Welcome aboard. And the same goes for my other subscribers, of course. But I thought, well, I suppose it's not beyond the realms of possibilities. Spacey, he's interested in all this space stuff, isn't he, Mr. Musk? So maybe it is the real Mr. Musk that subscribed. So anyway, back to the point. But that's a good point, isn't it? I mean, Elon Musk would have Bob Lazar working for him if any of this was real. Eric Davis would be working for Elon Musk. Hal Puthoff be working for Elon Musk. Jay Stratton will be working for Elon Musk. Lou Elizondo, David Grush, they'd all be working for Elon Musk, trying to build him a starship, if this was true. Elon Musk thinks it's all rubbish. Elon Musk has said himself, if this was really going on, aliens were coming here, they were crashing here, and their technology was being reverse engineered here, he would know. And if he saw any tangible evidence to support ETs coming here, visiting here, crashing here, he would immediately tell the world on X. And I believe him. I'm sure he would. I mean, if Lazar is returned to his old job as a radiation equipment monitoring equipment technician at Kirkmire, the world and his dog would be laughing at him, so he couldn't do that. So he set up his own little business, selling little radioactive samples and all this, that and the other for radioactive instrumentation, calibration, almost as though he knows how to calibrate radiation monitoring equipment. What a line through Bob Lazar, FFS. Now, Coulthart tells us he believes Lazar. Oh, he believes Lazar worked at S4 and tells us so in his book. He's got to get that in. Remember, Coulthart's trying to generate all this intrigue because he's got a book to sell about this stuff. Coulthart believes Lazar worked at S4 and he tells us so in his book. Doesn't tell us what he believes Lazar did at S4. Oh dear. I mean, that tells us all about Coulthart's credibility, really. You know, he's a professional piffle peddler. He pushes a lot of this really fanciful nonsense. That's probably why he's not in professional journalism anymore. Oh dear. I don't often look at Stephen Greer, but this thing popped up, so I thought, well, I'll have a look at it. And it said Stephen Greer. It was Stephen Greer. He was telling us that back in 1992, General Stubblebine offered him $2 billion to keep quiet about his UFO research and work with his operation, the General Stubblebine's operation. Well, if someone offered me $2 billion to stop talking about this subject, I'd bite their arm off. You'd never see me again. You know, I'd be in the Bahamas on a yacht, in the Mediterranean on Thebes. You know, I'd have me 60-metre yacht. You know, reverse parked into the marina there on Thebes, Saint Tropez. I won't be sitting here. Even though, you know, I mean, for someone with a sort of meagre income like myself, this is pretty good. It's a bit cloudy today, but normally 6 months with relentless sunshine. Petrol's half the price it is in the UK. I won't go on with the rest of the advantage. Oh, you don't need a TV licence. Back to the point, mumbling. Back to the point. So Greer declined, of course. He said, stick your $2 billion. I'm not interested in $2 billion. Who would be? All he's got to do is keep quiet. Oh dear, this would offend the intelligence of a cheese and pickle sandwich, wouldn't it, really? So he's also claimed he can summon E.T. craft. I think he's claimed he can channel an alien, or he can summon an alien that only he can see. You know, he's got a C5 protocol, takes people out in the desert. This is very much like the Skywatcher nonsense, you know, except that he charges the public. Skywatcher doesn't. Charges them to go out there, sit in deck chairs, you know, and they can see bright lights, you know, little lights in the distance, which are either some of his crew with drones, or I think somebody said that around that time there was someone throwing flares out the window of a Cessna. 10 grand a pop. You can't take a GPS with you, so you can't see where he sets you up. So it could well be that it's like aircraft coming into a major airport. You know, they look really strange with super bright landing lights, and they actually look like they're moving like this when they're coming straight at you, because they're bumping around in the thicker air as they're coming into land. And at the last minute, they'll turn to line up with the runway. So the lights go out. Alien spacecraft. I think that's how his CE5 protocol works. So yeah, I put a line through Greer a long time ago. I suggest you do too. It's just nonsense. It's like Skywatcher's rubbish. You can summon an alien, no one else can see it. This sounds like Bledsoe. You know, if you're a skeptic, you're never going to see what I can see. How dumb would you have to be to believe this drivel? You know. So, actually, this I can believe. And this is the only thing Greer has ever said that I can believe. He was sitting there and he told us that he has personally debriefed over 1,000 men. Looking at him, I don't doubt that. Oh dear. He's personally debriefed over 1,000 men. Finally, Greer said something credible. Oh dear. Jake Barber has surfaced again. He's telling us he's telling us he can connect to UAPs with his mind, with his consciousness. Although I think he might have been telling us this sort of stuff before. Again, this is cheese and pickle sandwich level of gullibility nonsense. He doesn't tell us what happened to Skywatcher. I haven't seen Star Wars for ages. What's happened to Skywatcher's peer-reviewed evidence? Remember the peer-reviewed evidence of Skywatcher? It was going to be in by Christmas. Well, we're still waiting, you know. So, I mean, if they're going to peer-review it and say, yeah, that's a flock of birds, you know, that's bugs, then, yeah, peer-reviewed. They're not going to get any peer review, any kind of peer review that says, yeah, that's definitely an extraterrestrial. That's a squadron of extraterrestrial spacecraft. You know, that's not a moth. You know, that's not flying past the camera, all out of focus. That's an extraterrestrial spacecraft. So yeah, the peer review is not going to say they're showing ET technology. It's completely pointless. The only thing Skywatcher was good for, I suspect, was bolstering the coffers of Jake Barber and his crew. It's not going to be any use for anything else. People that have invested in Skywatcher, I think, are waking up to the fact that it's all bullshit and their money's going down the drain. It's going on Barber and Co.'s mortgages, car payments. Put a line through Skywatcher, it's just nonsense. Completely pointless. Apparently Jay Stratton's wife has been talking unfavourably about Louis Elizondo. Maybe he wouldn't do a decent price on chandeliers. So not surprising really, because Jay Stratton doesn't talk favourably about Elizondo either. So there's infighting behind the scenes, you know, all at each other's throats, all these factions. And Mr. Burlison says all these factions in the disclosure business. Well, it's actually the great UFO-tainment swindle business, isn't it? That's what it is. Let's be honest. So Jay Stratton doesn't talk about Louis Elizondo favourably either, does he? Always arguing about who ran what and who did what at the Pentagon. Remember, ATIP was a hobby program of Louis Elizondo's. ORSAP was the thing that Jay Stratton was involved with, which was a properly funded program. But what they were doing was chasing werewolves around Skinwalker Ranch. They paid Bigelow $22 million to investigate his own ranch. I wish I could get work like that. Does anyone want to pay me $22 million to research my place? And people think there's something to this nonsense. Now, Megan Medick, who is Ross Coulthart's researcher, doesn't do much in the way of research. I think she soaks up a lot of tall tales, a lot of fanciful yarns, and repeats them as truth. I don't think she does very much in the way of research. Tells us how she got hold of the ridiculous egg UAP recovery video. Very theatrical. Apparently she was phoned up and their team had to go to a specific place and dig a hole. And there was a thumb drive with the video on it. Now, with a provenance like that, how could it not be legit? Oh dear. So, so she dug the video up, took it back to Ross Coulthart, and Ross Coulthart, oh, this is the best UAP recovery footage I've ever seen. It's the best UAP recovery footage in the world. And when you look at it, it's very obvious what you're looking at. You're looking at a chicken egg duct taped to a bit of fishing line, which is in turn duct taped to about a foot of 2mm steel rope that you get from the hardware store. The background is a carpet. That's why it's a green, monochromatic green black. You know, it's an insult to it would insult the intelligence of a cheese and pickle sandwich. If you look at it, you can clearly see it's duct tape around the egg. You know, the people that made that video and then gave it to Meg and Medick would have been falling about laughing at that. I don't know if they got any money for it, but they would have been falling about laughing. I reproduced that video in my lounge with a chicken egg, some duct tape, some fishing line and some 2mm steel rope from the local hardware store. And I'll leave a link to that below so you can see how similar that looks to the video that Ross Coulthart was pushing out as the best UAP recovery video he's ever seen. It's ridiculous. Zero critical thinking ability. If you look at that with any kind of analytical thought, you go, for a start, it says a 150-foot long line, you know, going down, and then there's a little fishing line coming off, going to the egg with a duct tape on it. 150-foot long line, and it's as rigid, you know, it's as rigid as that. 150-foot long line is going to flex and move. You know. It's obviously a foot of steel rope, 2mm steel rope from a hardware store. I can see exactly what they did. And and this fools Coulthart completely. So he tells us. Complete and utter nonsense, of course. Complete and utter nonsense. An anonymous chicken egg video. It's described as a 20-foot UAP on the end of a 150-foot long line. You can see straight away the long line is far too rigid. It's not moving around like a 150-foot long line would move around. It's just perfectly rigid. It's nonsense. Yeah, the UAP is very obviously just a chicken egg duct tape to some fishing line. You know, it's obvious. So I'll leave a link to my video below that I did reproducing his video, his egg video. I just used a chicken egg duct tape to some fishing line and some 2mm steel rope. Yeah. And reproduced Coulthart's spectacular video almost exactly. I'll leave a link below. So you can have a look for yourself and see what you think. This entire ET is coming here and crashing here nonsense is nothing more than an egg video of an egg, duct tape to some fishing line, images of a chandelier and a couple of crop irrigation circles, cigar humidor lids, Volvo hubcaps, that's Billy Meyer, and artist's impressions, you know, flying saucers sticking out of the ground. Has to be complete flying saucers sticking out the ground at 45 degrees so you can identify it as a flying saucer. You know. Plane crashed at 45 degrees, there'd be postage stamp size shrapnel all over the floor. You'd have no idea what it was. You need to identify it as an alien spacecraft, a flying saucer, so it's perfectly, you know, sticking out the ground at 45 degrees. This sort of thing impresses people like Danny Sheehan. There's no substance to any of it. It's all science fiction rubbish. I saw a guy called Richard Bath. I think he's going to take a bath on this one. He tells us he was a guard at Vandenberg nuclear missile base when a hooded being paralysed and abducted him. He was taken aboard an alien spacecraft that was hovering above the base. There were 4 other alien beings on the craft. He was told they were inspecting the missiles. In order to understand how they worked, because aliens have never seen nuclear missiles, nuclear weapons before. They can get here from another part of the galaxy. No idea about nuclear weapons. You can tell why he's a guard, can't you? So they could prevent a nuclear war. Nice of them, really, isn't it? Just floating around waiting for us to start a nuclear war so they can intervene. Maybe they should tell Mr. Putin. He was told they weren't the only ETs involved. Others were less benevolent. Doing the same thing, but they're less benevolent. This apparently happened within weeks of Bob Jacobs' famous sighting at the same base. He saw a UFO follow and shoot down an Atlas missile. I actually saw that video. The sun is just out of shot, so it's actually lens flare that you can see on the missile. It's bullshit, absolute drivel. As is Mr. Bath's story. So the missile shoot down video was nothing more than a lens flare. They're recording a missile test as the missile's going up like that, and you can see there's a bright thing here, and it's lens flare because the sun is just out of shot. It would insult the intelligence of a cheese and pickle sandwich. It's rubbish. And again, Mr. Bath's story has more holes than a colander. Not calendar. Grip mumbling, a colander. So you have to consider, what about the rest of the staff at the missile base? They weren't paralysed, they were just going about their business while these aliens are running around inspecting the missiles, were they? Why have they not come forward as a group and said this has happened? You know, they were all paralysed. Tell the world the nuclear missiles at their base are being inspected by extraterrestrials. Why would ETs paralyse a security guard and then take him aboard their spacecraft and explain exactly what they were doing? It's far more likely if the aliens wanted to do that, they turn up and they go, oh, it's a security guard, we'll just paralyse him, you know, we'll get on with what we're going to do. They're not going to paralyse him, beam him aboard the spacecraft and then sit him down. Cup of coffee, Chucky digestives, Mr. Bath. This is what we're doing. We just want you to relax. Don't worry, we're only inspecting the missiles. But what about the CO? What about Captain? Oops. Never thought of that. Do we need his permission? So personally, you know, I'll put a line through Mr. Bath. He's just another. He's just another potential. I think he's just someone else that's trying to cash in on the great UFO-tainment swindle. You know, he's seen plenty of people out there telling bullshit stories and thought he'd just jump on the bandwagon, tell a bullshit story, see if he could make any money out of it. So personally, put a line through Mr. Bath. Not credible, drivel. Next caller, please. The ET is coming here and crashing here. Fanboys have been suggesting Steven Spielberg is in the know about ETs coming to Earth, visiting Earth, crashing here, their technology being reverse engineered here. And his new upcoming movie, Disclosure Day, is in fact a message. It's not just a science fiction film, it's a message. And of course it is just a science fiction film. I saw Spielberg being interviewed fairly recently, within the last couple of days. And Spielberg's actual words were, if someone knows ETs are coming here, why don't they just tell us? Now what does that tell you? Tells me no one's ever told, no one from any government department or, you know, government contractor or has ever told Steven Spielberg that ETs are coming here, they're visiting the planet, they're crashing here, their technology is being reverse engineered here. Because Mr. Spielberg said, if someone knows ETs are coming here, why don't they just tell us? So no one's told Spielberg that ETs are coming here. So there's no message in his movie. He likes this genre, Close Encounters of the Third Kind. He said in the interview he's always been interested in aliens. Are aliens coming here? He doesn't know they're coming here. He's not in the know. He just makes films about it because he likes the subject. So the fanboys are going to be significantly disappointed if they think there's any meaningful message in Spielberg's new film Disclosure Day. I've said before, I saw a clip there, you got all the reindeer outside, the guy's eyes are changing colour, and I thought it's the same old with the eyes changing colour to show, hey, I'm an alien. And you got the reindeer outside, or, Bambi meets the invaders, is what popped into my mind. I thought, Bambi meets the invaders. I'll be saving my money. Mr. Spielberg's not going to be getting any money from me on this one. Not that I suspect he needs it. So, just that one sentence tells us, from Mr. Spielberg, tells us he's not in the know any more than you or I am. So, no one credible has told him. So yeah, no one behind the scenes, has said, look, don't tell anyone, Spielberg, but this is really happening. So yeah, so no one from any government department or government contractor, no one worth listening to, has told Spielberg it's real, it's happening, ETs are coming here. Just that one sentence from Mr. Spielberg tells us that. I was watching an ET fanboy YouTube channel who said, Gary Nolan was talking about Skywatcher. Now, bear in mind, I didn't see Gary Nolan saying this. This is what I saw somebody saying. Apparently, he said Skywatcher did manage to call in a couple of UAPs that crashed, but they didn't go and recover any of the debris. Oh dear, can I imagine Nolan saying that? I don't know. He's definitely a fanboy. He's talked about having aliens visiting him at his house. So it's the sort of thing I could believe he would say. But I mean, what sort of research outfit is Skywatcher if they manage to telepathically summon extraterrestrial spacecraft? Remember, this is what their project is all about. But the aliens, when they're summoned, but they're over-summoned. They're overclocked. They crash. But they don't. This is the Grail is getting tangible evidence of ETs coming here and crashing here, and Barber and co don't go and recover any of the debris. Can't be bothered. The coffee pot's on. Well, I've got a few beers, cold box with a few beers in it. Burgers on the barbie. Why would they go and recover some tangible evidence of an extraterrestrial spacecraft crash? Who on earth is going to believe this kind of drivel, really? It's pathetic, isn't it? Yeah. So, Skywatcher's not summoning any alien spacecraft. The dog whistle was a joke. The whole thing is ludicrous. The whole mission statement is ludicrous. I did actually see I did see Nolan say if Skywatcher had made an ET spacecraft land, he never saw it. Now, I did see Nolan say that. he said, if Skywatcher ever did summon an alien spacecraft to land, he never saw it. I did see him say that. He probably didn't believe it never happened, but he didn't see it. So Skywatcher is just a steaming pile, you know, milking the great UFO-tainment swindle. Their investment money, I suspect, is all gone. Nobody should be putting money into this complete and utter rubbish until they see their peer-reviewed evidence that they gathered last year. That means they're not going to be getting any more investment money because they're not going to. It's not, the peer-reviewed evidence is not going to say this is tangible evidence of extraterrestrials visiting this planet. I guarantee it, because ETs aren't coming here. I saw this the other day. I thought this was a joke when I first saw it. I didn't even know whether to mention it or not. It's just so pathetic. There's a guy called Daryl Anker. And he's claiming to channel an alien called Bashar. I can't believe I'm even mentioning this, really. It really doesn't deserve any attention, certainly doesn't deserve mine. It's ludicrous drivel, of course. I won't be watching or mentioning this character again. I don't know who came first, this guy or Bledsoe. It's a very similar sort of thing, though, isn't it? You know, Bledsoe with his lady and this guy with Bashar. Although Bledsoe, I think he says he sees the lady. If you're a skeptic, you'll never see her. What sort of dimwit would believe this nonsense? Whereas this guy, what's his name? The guy that channels Bashar does it in a carnival type fashion. So, you know, he sits there. He's getting ready to channel the alien. He's actually he's interdimensional apparently, and he's from 300 years in the future. And he goes, "Oh, you are now talking to Bashar." What would you like to ask, Bashar? I just fell off my chair laughing. I thought, do people actually believe this rubbish, you know? Okay, now, if Bashar is from 300 years in the future, I would be asking Bashar for next week's winning Powerball lotto numbers. And if he can't produce them, I'd be calling bullshit on Bashar, I'm afraid. Honestly, I thought it was a joke. I thought it was some sort of carnival act. You know, the... You are now. I am Bashar. What would you like to know about the... I can't even remember what the planet was supposed to be called. It's drivel anyway. I won't be looking at that guy again. Complete waste of time. I saw our old mate Kremlin Jones giving a science fiction talk at some gullible half-wit convention in England somewhere. He, to bolster his ridiculous science fiction stories, he mentioned Mark McCandless. You know, now I did a video. I think I might leave a link to that below as well, if I remember to do it. Who he said, you know, he came up with this alien reproduction vehicle, and there's a schematic of it, there's a cutaway drawing of it, you know, and it was powered by free energy from the vacuum. No one ever says which vacuum. Is it Hoover or Dyson? And to bolster the ridiculous story, he says Mark McCandless shot himself twice in the back of the head, giving the impression that he was assassinated because he put this drawing out there, giving the secret away. You know, the truth of the matter is, of course, that Mark McCandless shot himself once in the temple. Once in the temple. temple on his head, you know, not his place of worship. For goodness knows what reason. His ARV drawing, his schematic, is worthless. I've looked at it. It's a joke. It's not worth anything. You know, the patent wasn't taken up. No aerospace companies have been making these things. It's complete and utter rubbish. But bullshitters like Jones have to embellish, you know, they'll obfuscate. They leave stuff out. They will tell you blatant lies. Like McCandless shot himself twice in the back of the head to bolster their science fiction rubbish. They must know it's all rubbish, otherwise they would not need to bolster it with those sort of enhancements. Ooh, shot himself twice in the back of the head. He must have been assassinated. No one could do that. Not what happened. So, yeah, I mean, Jones comes out with an awful lot of rubbish. You've got to bear in mind, of course, that Jones also tells us that he believes the Queen of England was a shape-shifting lizard from outer space. And, of course, that NASA faked the moon landings. You know, he's a real conspiracy. He laps up all this conspiracy rubbish, repeats it as truth, and tries to convince a lot of gullible half-wits that it's all real. Goodness knows what's the motivation for that, I wonder. You know, what? You know, he's living in a basement bedsit. He's obviously not making money out of it, is he? But looking at McCandless's ARV drawing, it's nonsense. It's complete and utter rubbish. It's a steaming pile. So, I don't think we've got much left. We'll be going for an hour and 3 minutes. I think, hour and 3 minutes, was it? Yeah, hour and, 2 minutes. So, McCandless's drawing, completely worthless. Science fiction rubbish. Hasn't been suppressed. You know, Greer was even holding it up at his thing back in 2001, you know, at his press conference thing. Here's McCandless's bit cutaway alien reproduction vehicle. You know, it's the drivel. So, yeah, I'll leave a link to the video I made about McCandless's rubbish below. Oh, okay, come to the end. Is that really the end? Yeah. Finally, a bit of science fact. Elon Musk has changed the focus of SpaceX from Mars to the Moon. The Moon is far less challenging, and the US needs to get a moon base up and running before the Chinese do. I don't think there's anything more to it than that. They need to get an American moon base up and running as quickly as possible, because the Chinese are moving in that direction quite rapidly. The Americans want to do it first. They want to get the first woman on the moon. That's why the new moon project is called Artemis. Artemis in mythology, sister of Apollo. If the Chinese get there before Artemis, they've called it Artemis for nothing, really. They're not going to get the first woman on the moon. Also, there's the helium-3. Moon is coated in helium-3, which they think is going to be the fusion power of the future. They wouldn't be worrying about helium-3 and fusion power if there was anything to getting energy out of the vacuum. You know. If there was anything to free energy, billions of dollars would be put into free energy research. It's not, because all the world's top physicists know it's complete and utter bullshit. They're putting billions of dollars into fusion research because they're pretty sure they can make that work. Of course, all the stuff that Musk is doing is ideal for setting up a moon base. Heavy lift rockets, you know, be able to get a lot of stuff to the moon. A lot easier than getting all this stuff to Mars. And I reckon they'll do it without too much bother. And I think the fact that the Chinese are pushing for the moon is why Artemis has been bumped up. And as I said before, having seen the returned heat shield from Artemis 1, I wouldn't be flying on it. They've apparently not spent any money on it. They're just going to change the trajectory of the re-entry trajectory so that the heat shield is exposed to heat for less time. I sincerely hope their boffins have got their ducks in a row. Sounds like a fudge to me. Alright, well, if you have struggled through the video all the way to this point, as always, many thanks for watching, and maybe I'll catch you again.